When Kurama died, it went down as one of the saddest moments in the Naruto franchise. That was a day where Boruto Naruto Next Generation's episode 218 aired, and grown men who had spent their youth consuming the Naruto product and growing up alongside Naruto, those grown men, they shared the most manly of tears ever, watching Naruto's face twist up in agony, seeing him reach his hand up for Kurama, hearing his voice break as he called out to him, and watching the other 8 Biju gather around the two of them to say goodbye to Kurama. It hit so many people deeply into their souls. Naruto's pain, it was our pain. It wasn't just Naruto lost a friend that day, it was all of us. And for the last 3 years, Naruto fans who have been reading Boruto's manga have had PTSD when it comes to Kurama's death. But suddenly Kurama, he's come back from the dead with his fingers crossed, telling everyone, sight. That death that you thought was for keeps, I had my fingers crossed the whole time. Biju, they get reborn, fam. We don't stay dead, you silly readers. However, now that we've all had time to get over the emotional gut punch that was Kurama's death, it's time to ask the question of why did Kurama wait 3 years to revive himself? Well, in today's newest Naruto Explained video, we're going to take a look at why Kurama waiting to appear when he did not only makes sense but lines up with some of much forgotten lore of Naruto's manga, and explain the impact of Kurama revealing himself now when he was forced to do so before he clearly wanted to. I think the biggest thing that we have to look at is the lore that was set up in Naruto's manga when it came to the Ninetails, because Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, as a sequel to Naruto, is continuing to build on that lore in a loose way. So when we go back to Naruto Volume 41, specifically Naruto Chapter 370, there's a line by Garatoa, the toad, that tells Jiraiya the Ninetails has always been viewed as a natural disaster that mysteriously appears whenever humanity becomes steeped in evil. And at the time, the characterization of Kurama was that he was the source of those disasters, but those were the words of humanity uttered in ignorance of the truth and the circumstances behind them, which is why Kurama's lines in Naruto Chapter 691 and 692 has to be brought up. Hagoromo tells us as readers that Kurama has a really big heart and basically acts in aggression to hide his embarrassment, like when he flips off Naruto in the manga, and that Kurama is a protector at heart, specifically asking Kurama to be the guard for the Biju sanctuary where the other 8 Biju gather inside of Naruto. Those 3 scenes, they're all connected to Kurama showing back up, but the question of why he waited for 3 years to show himself needs to be addressed in order to fully appreciate those scenes. What was the deal? Was Kurama waiting to reach full size again? Was he watching ninja flicks inside of Himawari, and now that she's showing up unexpectedly in his home, he's got a long story to tell, and that story is best told by eating a meal prepared by Cook Unity, the sponsor of today's video. I'm excited to tell you guys this video is going to be brought to you by Cook Unity, the chef to you delivery service that provides a convenient way to get freshly prepared restaurant quality meals from award-winning chefs. You guys have heard me mention Cook Unity in the past, but if you've not checked them out, I strongly encourage you to do so, because I am proud to say I've been using Cook Unity for just over a year now. It doesn't matter if I'm cutting for the summer and in need of some high protein meals, low in calories, or if I'm bulking up during the winter. Cook Unity held me down. Between running 3 YouTube channels, there are days where I don't feel like cooking, but Cook Unity meals just require a few minutes in the oven and they're good to go. While you can microwave the meals, the best results will always be in the oven. Cook Unity is extremely easy to use. Just visit the website on your computer or your phone, set your preferences from anywhere as few as 4 meals to 16 meals a week, and choose from 350 plus meals from award-winning chefs, and menus are posted 2 weeks in advance. The meals arrive fresh with expiration dates and easy to follow instructions for heating your meals. So simple that even Naruto can follow them. For the package I received, I got Chef Andre Mendez's dish called Mom's Shrimp Stew and Chef Tracy Bloom's Buffalo Mac and Cheese that I shared with my best friend Howard both days he came over to help me finish my office. Given he's a very picky eater, the way those meals got scarfed down, it speaks volumes to how good they are. The Mom's Shrimp Stew has amazing flavor, especially when you let the juices mix in with the saffron rice, and the Buffalo Mac and Cheese is both creamy and has the right kick to it to satisfy that tummy of yours. I even ordered my cheat meal for the week, Chef Ruben Garcia's crispy sesame crusted chicken tenders, which not only has great texture, but that cauliflower mash is absolutely to die for. Cook Unity's roster of all-star chefs includes Food Network alums, James Beard Award winners, and acclaimed restaurateurs. Don't hesitate, go to cookunity.com/Naruto or click my link in the description box below and use my code Naruto50 to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals to try them out yourself. So the reason that those lines in particular are connected to Kurama waiting to show himself is the fact that he left the world and things, they were at a major boiling point. Naruto was getting beaten half to death by Ishiki. Sasuke was somewhere at a chakra station trying to recover from being a walking surfboard, and Ishiki appeared primed to kill off the two strongest shinobi in history, snatch up Boruto, implant the coma seal in Kawaki, feed Boruto to the Ninetails, and after he was revived, he was ready to eat the chakra fruit that he harvested. That of course led to Kurama having to make the major sacrifice that he did, where he tricked Naruto into using Baryon mode, a power that Naruto believed would kill him when in reality it only killed Kurama, and thus it gave Naruto and Kurama the chance to do exactly what the Sage of Six Paths asked Kurama to do, and be what the Sage of Six Paths said he was, a protector, and in this case protect the world, ironically from the superior of the mother of the Sage of Six Paths. However, there was another threat that needed to be addressed, and one that Kurama knew still existed, which is the issue of Boruto hitting 100% Otsutsukification and Momoshiki being reborn using Boruto's body, stronger than ever before. Kurama, a protector, died knowing there was something still out there to harm the planet, and knowing that Naruto would never be able to harm his son if it came down to it. In the narrative, making it a point to drive home by having the Kage stress to Naruto, they didn't believe that Naruto without Kurama would be able to defeat Momoshiki, and even Gar was calling into question whether or not Naruto is really about that Kage life, because Gar's own father had the conviction to have Gar killed when Gar became a threat to the village, and Gar doubted whether or not Naruto could do the same. Kurama likely would have came to a similar conclusion, but despite that, I don't think that Boruto is specifically why Kurama was reborn. So Gedatora's statement, the Ninetails mysteriously appears whenever there's a threat to humanity on a wide scale, is what I think we have to focus in on here. Kurama just happens to be coming back during a time where Jura and the other Shinju are a real threat to humanity. The Ninetails, a being that used to be a brainless brute that only knew one thing: to search for chakra, consume chakra. The Ninetails has now evolved and gained consciousness. It's developed an ego. It's carrying out its own desires, but it will eventually want to consume Boruto or Kawaki in order to harvest a chakra fruit. Right now, Jura, as he stands right now, is clearly stronger than Kawaki, and he might very well be stronger than Boruto. It's hard to determine since we haven't seen Boruto at full power, and we haven't seen Boruto lock up with Coma Seal Kawaki yet, but Jura knocking Kawaki unconscious with only 2 hits, no biscuit, and having that boy forget to say no diddy before he got pounded, it is a sign that Jura is insanely powerful and is every bit the threat to humanity at large. Kurama appeared to know about the circumstances that were going on as well. He specifically said that he was annoyed that the Ninetails was the one who was able to suss him out, which means that this was a premature exposure of Kurama, and that Kurama was exposing himself to Himawari before he was ready to do so. Those lines, I don't believe that they're mentioned randomly, and I do believe when we get the next chapter, we're gonna have Kurama state his annoyance at the reveal of Jura finding him, which means he should know more about what's going on in the world at large, including what's happened to Naruto and Hinata, which is another reason getting more clarity on if this is the same Kurama as before is so important, because it opens up a major can of worms in a very good way, mind you. So the idea of Kurama biding his time, it makes a lot of sense if the smaller size is equated to his power, even though that would technically go against the fox mythology and the folklore surrounding foxes in Japan, where if a fox has 9 tails, it is believed to be at full power and at full maturation, since it takes 100 years per tail for the tail to manifest. The other thing is that Kurama being so small, it goes against Biju being reborn at their normal size based on what we've seen, unless the story goes the route that, hey, Baryon mode potentially is the reason behind Kurama being so small, which I do believe that stands a good chance at happening, because Baryon mode was a game changer, just as there's as good of a chance as the narrative choosing to have the explanation be a piggyback on what Kurama said about Biju being ranked by power via the number of tails they possess, which we know there is a massive gap between the full 9 tails and 8 tails. The 8 tails is a distant second, and with the 3 tails, that gap might as well be large as the number of people who allegedly never said yes diddy. If the 9 tails takes longer to reach full size after his revival, then it works as a suitable answer as well, because Biju revival has only really happened with the Three Tails. It's a rare occurrence. It's kind of like getting Kendrick Lamar to respond to Drake in a timely manner. The idea of Kurama potentially being back reborn, this time thematically, it hits home harder when you look at Garato's words and the Sage of Six Paths words again. The last Kurama we saw, due to everything that he had seen following the death of the Sage of Six Paths, had grown to hate and detest and distrust humans. It took Naruto eventually winning him over, enough so to the point that he was willing to die for a human, something that 20 years ago in the timeline would have been absolutely unthinkable. But now he's been revived and reborn, having died as someone who didn't hate humans anymore. So now he's reborn, likely without the hatred for humans. It is a clear tabula rasa, which, for those of you guys who don't know what that term means, it basically means a blank slate, and the idea of him protecting humanity from a current threat in the way that Hagoromo called him a protector and a compassionate heart. It makes you look back at that moment where baby Kurama was crying when Hagoromo died that much more in a fonder light. You don't find yourself laughing at tears like a certain suit-wearing clown. In life, oftentimes we have a tendency as people to look at the end result. While it is true that part of the journey is indeed the end, the trials and tribulations that get us to the end, they are ultimately what play a role in helping us evolve into the person that will ultimately be defined as when history looks back at us when we're gone. It's easy to see someone and just write them off as, hey, that's a bad person, even if you never met them, because reputation precedes you. It's why the 48 Laws of Power says that reputation is everything. It must be guarded with your life, because if your reputation is ruined, everything you built up can be destroyed. It can be rebuilt, but never to the point where it was before. But too often, we as people, we don't take the time to look at why we got to the point that we got to. We don't take the time to see how they reached that point, which that makes tragic characters like Anakin Skywalker so fascinating, because they expose us as humans to the darker sides of ourselves that enjoy watching the pain of others, even though it's a glossed up form of entertainment. There's a reason tragedies are some of the most iconic stories in human literature. The revival of Kurama and him waiting this long to show himself offers a chance to give readers the opposite end of the spectrum. The only thing that people love more than rooting for a hero or waiting for the hero to fall is a comeback story. And right now, Kurama, he has a chance to make a comeback that is rivaled only by the comeback from despair that Denji has in the newest Chainsman chapter that's on the screen to your left.